Saints and Sinners was the first anthology book from the Rippaverse. It came with a compilation of stories from many different writers and artists. The stories vary in quality. While some are among the best in the Rippaverse, others make me want to yell obscene things to the writers. In today's Shore Ah review, I'm going to be going over the first story in Saints and Sinners, which is Chasing Ghosts. Now, I do have something I need to get off my chest, which is I'm not a fan of heels versus babyface. Now, occasionally he'll make a good video or have something that I agree with, but 99% of the time I disagree with his takes and I don't really like him that much. Combine that with him being a writer for a pretty important character with no experience with writing at all was worrying for me at the time of the reveal. I feared that the writing quality of the story wasn't going to be that good. And unfortunately, those fears became a reality as this story is caca. Before I explain how this book is one of the 7 deadly sins, let me go over the good things in this book. In fact, there is only one good thing in this book, which is the art. I am a huge fan of the art style here. I like the design of the characters as they are very expressive, and combine that with the colors made it enjoyable to look at instead of reading the actual book. And that's everything positive. Haha, yay. Everything else in this book is caca. The characters, the plot, the pacing, all of it has problems. Before reading Chasing Ghosts, the thing I was most worried about was the characters, and they do not behave as they have in previous books. This story focuses on Ingrid from Alphacore doing a mission with Detective Briggs to solve some murders, and the main conflict is that Briggs hates accepts. On paper, this could be a compelling story, with Briggs and Ingrid settling their differences and learning to work together as a team to solve the murder. However, this isn't the case here, as their conflict is pretty forced and doesn't make sense based on what we know of the characters' actions in the past. We see that Detective Briggs in Alphacore 1 doesn't hate accepts to the degree that she is going off on Ingrid. She goes from someone who's slightly irritated to literally Robert Kelly from X-Men. From what we know of Ingrid, she will definitely push back against somebody who's making fun or misjudging accepts. She calls out Wilkins and pushes back against him, who is making jokes about accepts. And what Heels versus Babyface did is completely to change the character of Briggs, as she behaves completely differently, giving more heat and hostility towards Ingrid. Ingrid in Alphacore would be pushing back heavily against her, but because Az is writing, she doesn't even give any pushback at all and just ignores it and accepts it. Detective Briggs is also mocking her co-worker Wilkins' death later on in the story. Like, what are we doing here? These clear changes to the characters just to benefit the story isn't even the worst part of the story. One thing that was promised from the Rippaverse in the beginning was a comprehensive timeline, and so far, there's nothing. Eric has even gone on record saying that a timeline is something that he wants fans to figure out, and that's part of the fun. The problem is that Chasing Ghosts places Alphacore 1 after ISOM 1, due to the dialogue stating that Ingrid had an encounter with Yaira. This is an issue primarily because of the events of ISOM number 2, where Eagle's Nest is still in the air, along with the events of Yaira 1, where Stefania joined Alphacore, even though she isn't in Alphacore 1. The dialogue here really throws a wrench into the timeline and where events take place, and as of the making of this video, we're still waiting on books to ship that might clarify it, such as Alphacore 2. Also, Bloodruth is in this book for literally no reason other than fan service and that Az likes the character. It serves no purpose to the plot at all. Her inclusion feels unnecessary, as you could have just had a scene where they find clues which leads them to the docks rather than Bloodruth telling Ingrid where to go. Ingrid knowing about Bloodruth and being hostile towards her is also weird, as I thought Gooding would be the only person to know about her, as she is outside of Flores Park away from Alphacore's jurisdiction, ignoring the Spain incident. The pacing in this book is also pretty horrendous, as the first page is essentially pointless and irrelevant to the story until the very end of the story. They just jump around places to places like they're the Hulk or something like that. Towards the end of the book, after a close fight with the villains that escaped, Ingrid visits Wilkins' grave. Which, keep in mind, they were not even that close. They literally only met for a few hours, and she is visiting the grave. Like, bro, you weren't even that tight. Then Crazy from Lego Ninjago peeks behind Wilkins' grave, and that's it. That is the story. That's literally the story. There is so much with this book that I can't even begin to explain how frustrated it made me feel reading it for the first time. If they are going to have Heels versus Babyface write another book with Ingrid, please, for the love of God, have him work with another writer so he doesn't mess up this badly. But those are just my thoughts on the short story. Let me know if you liked it or didn't, what needs to be better, or what you think needs to continue. This is Mr. Snail live from the Shell House, and have an awesome day.